You guys ever bought a bottle and been disappointed with it? And maybe you bought it purely because of the hype surrounding it, because of the internet fanboys telling you to? Well, tonight we're going to go through four of those bottles that I have either bought or received that I think are overrated and I likely won't be buying another one of. Roll that intro. Welcome back to T-Rod Whiskey, guys. I am your host, T-Rod. Tonight, we're going to talk about four bottles that I think are just overrated. They don't deserve the hype. They certainly don't deserve the price tag. And a lot of times, they definitely don't deserve the secondary hype that they get or the attention that they get. Because honestly, there's a lot. And I know you guys always hear this, but it's true. There are a lot, and I mean a ton of great bottles that sit on the shelf all day, every day, simply because they're not the sexy new it bottle that just hit the market or that has all the clout and the popularity, or it comes from one of the big distillers. And unfortunately, they just sit there. I mean, unfortunately for, I guess, the bottles, I don't know, it's not really unfortunate for me because I can basically go grab them whenever I want. But anyways, we got four bottles here we're going to talk about. The first one we're going to start with should be no surprise to anybody, okay? And that one is Blanton's. Everybody knows Blanton's, right? It's got this wonderful round bottle. It's got the instantly recognizable little horsey on top. Blanton's was the first commercially available single barrel bourbon ever sold in the United States. It was a wonderfully developed marketing gimmick back in the late 80s. And that was, they had the bottle, they had the topper, the letters weren't quite a thing yet. That was all done to increase collectability and increase sales. Unfortunately, the bourbon inside, while it's good, it's not great. It is a 93 proof bourbon. It's about 6 years old, 6 to 8 years old, depending on the barrel. And yeah, it's a single barrel and it's got great packaging and it's super recognizable because it comes from one of the most iconic distilleries in all of Kentucky, if not the entire world. It's not that it's not good. It's just not worth the hunt. It's not worth the price tags. It's just, it's not worth $200, $150. I don't even know if it's really worth its MSRP, in my opinion. I mean, I think it was fine when it was $55.99. Now it's $65 or $70. I will probably buy it because I like to have them on the shelf. I like to have it when company comes over. But I have all the toppers. I just need to drink all of it now, which is a challenge in itself. But I'm not going to go out of my way to hunt for Blanton's anymore. When store owners ask, hey, you looking for some Blanton's? I'm going to probably say, nah, man, I'm good. So that's bottle number one, is the Blanton's. Bottle number two from the same distillery, okay? Weller 12-year-old. So obviously 12 years old, wheated bourbon, part of the Weller lineup, 90 proof, and totally not worth any sort of secondary price tag. This is worth around $50 to $75 at the very, very most. I think SRP on this is $60. It might be up to $70 now. I don't know. But it is, in my opinion, very thin, very uncharacteristic. There's not a whole lot of depth to it. There's no complexity to it. If you're hunting around for one of these just because you want to complete your vertical, I mean, that's cool too. But if you're hunting this, or you're paying $200, $250 a bottle because you think it's going to be some type of mind-opening or life-altering experience, and it's going to be this wonderfully complex and deep, flavorful whiskey, I got news for you. It's just not. It isn't. It's not that good. It's a limp, thin expression from Buffalo Trace. And honestly, there's nothing really wrong with it. I think it does what it's supposed to very well. And at a recommended price tag, yeah, it's probably okay. But at anything over that, at any type of secondary price, I mean, I saw this at a duty-free shop for $250, and I couldn't even believe it. we just recently did a video that dropped where we compared this one to Black Saddle 12 year, and the Black Saddle won out. Black Saddle sits on the shelf around here for $50 a bottle, and it's plentiful. They're both Kentucky bourbons. They're both 90 proof. They're both 12 years, but this one flies off of shelves at 3 and 4 times its recommended price, and the other sits on the shelf at SRP because it's not cool. It doesn't have the clout and the recognizable logo, and it's not collectible. I guess I don't know. I mean, this is crushable in the fact that it's an easy sipper. But I think the best thing to do with this would be to mix it with some 107 and make yourself some poor man's Pappy. That's what I think. But you guys do what you want. But that's bottle number 2 is Weller 12. Bottle number 3, and this one hurts me because I was such a fanboy of this distillery for such a long time. And still kind of in some ways am, but I've been passing up on a lot of their picks lately. Okay. Midwinter Night's Dram. This is specifically Act 10. Act 9 was pretty good. This one here is an Act 10. I only got 1 bottle of it. You can see I haven't drank very much of it because it just wasn't any good, in my opinion. And it was $150 when I purchased it because last year was the year that they increased the SRP to $150. I love High West. Specifically, I love older High West and some of their barrel picks before they changed the labels up and everything, because they used to do something really cool. They used to blend their whiskeys in-house. They would purchase barrels from either MGP or Barton, and then they'd make their own distillate, and they were blending them together to make something really, really good, and it was at a fairly reasonable price. And then in 2017, something really unfortunate happened, and the distillery was sold to Constellation Brands. And Constellation is a very, very large business that is there to do one thing, and that is to make money. So we saw prices go up. We saw the age of the blends go down. Double rye used to be one of the best bang for your buck bourbons, or I'm sorry, ryes, not a bourbon, ryes, that you get on the market. And it was a blend of I want to say it was 4 and 7 year old ryes that you could blend together, or that they blended together. And it was really good, and it was $35. Then Constellation stepped in, and I'm pretty sure that blend went down to 3 and 4 years, and the quality just went way down. I think if you're looking at bottles on the shelf, the big takeaway is any of the handwritten date codes. If it's handwritten, it means it's pre-Constellation, I'm fairly certain. And that's one that you should consider picking up for SRP. Now, in terms of the Midwinter Night's Drams, the blend has not been as good. And yeah, it's a port finish, right? Yeah, finished in port barrels. It's a port finish rye. And these used to be fairly allocated, fairly unobtainium. I think last year, though, they said they released 80,000 cases of this, or 80,000 barrels of this. 80,000. Maybe it's 80,000 bottles, not 80,000 cases. I don't know. Either way, 5 to 7 times the number of bottles that had been released in previous years. And it was bad. I saw this and I was like, oh, hell yeah, I'm grabbing that. SRP, I'm grabbing that. I'm taking it home with me. And then I got it home and we popped it, and the lady and I sat down and we poured ourselves a dram, and really disappointing. It's 49.3%, so it's not even a full 100 proof. It's just not something that I think I bought an Act 11. Actually, just one Act 11, and it was a return to form for this particular bottling. But it just, if I don't hear great things about the Act, which I've heard mixed reviews about Act 12, which I still don't have, but I'm going to be a lot more selective because their barrel pick program kind of went away. They moved away from some of the really cool things they were doing with super extended barrel finishes. Some of those maple syrup casks or honey casks where they had finished it for 3, 4, 5 years. And those had become super sought after because they were amazing single barrel picks. And now it's just not the same. It feels like a vast step away from what kind of made High West special. So Midwinter Night's Dram is that's gonna, I don't think I'll be looking for another one of those. I used to hunt this thing religiously. Lastly, I just got this one and can confirm it is, in my opinion, not necessarily worth its price tag. And that is the Elijah Craig 18 year. Now, this was a gift from a client, a very generous client, obviously, because these retail for close to $200. I think $180 or $190 is the MSRP in the state of Michigan. I can appreciate the high age statement. 18 years old is a very, very year old, very, very old bourbon. Okay. But it's 90 proof, right? 90 proof? Yeah, it's 90 proof. And I've also heard these are extremely batchy. So if you get a bad barrel, then, I mean, I tried a couple of these before receiving this bottle. One was good. The other two were very bad. They tasted like wet popsicle sticks. It was just all sour oak and it wasn't very good. So, when I first got into bourbon, I was like, man, I really want to get an Elijah Craig 18. I really want to be able to buy that bottle. It's expensive, but I think it's going to be really, really good. And then somebody was like, hey, man, you should think about that. And I'm like, I don't know. If I get the opportunity, I think I should do it. And he's like, no, here, I'm going to take care of you. And he got me a sample of his Elijah Craig 18. And I tried it, and it was not good. So then I had another guy in my barrel club, like 6-8 months later. They're like, oh, no, I love these. Maybe you just got a bad barrel. So he gave me a sample of one of his. And the one that he really liked was very good. It was less oaky, had a lot more caramels, butterscotches, vanilla, but it was still muted. It was still toned down a little bit more than what I like. And then I got a pour of this at a local bar because, why not? It was like $14 for a 1.5 ounce pour. And it was terrible. It was tannic and oaky. And that was all it had was wood tannins and oak, wood tannins and oak. And that was it. So anybody who's looking at buying these, I understand that, $10 a year for the age statement and everything is kind of par for the course. And I know Heaven Hill is one of these great legacy distilleries that is putting out really, really good bottles. I would pay near $200 for an 18-year-old Old Fitz because it's higher proof, or if there was like an age-stated Elijah Craig barrel proof that was proofier, yeah, maybe. But at 90 proof, there's just not enough there to keep me interested. So I will not be buying that one again. Well, not even buy the first one, but I won't be hunting that anymore. But that's it, guys. 4 bottles that I think they're overrated. I think are overrated. You guys can make up your own mind. I know all of these are very collectible. They're very sought after. They're very allocated. And you might enjoy these. And if you do, hey man, that's super cool. More power to you. I think they're overrated. I don't know if I'll be hunting them anymore. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Smash that subscribe button. Drop me a like. Love to hear from everybody that watches the channel. But otherwise, we'll see you next time. Cheers.